Hi, all you tiebreakers out there, and welcome inside my head. I know it can be a little scary, but walking you through how I brainstorm when I'm doing a gamification. And if you read my book, The Tiebreaker, you know I have 5 keys to victory. And as we're talking about building community, great way to build community here. And so I'm going to run a quick brainstorm through with you, like I mentioned in the blog. And this is something I would do probably targeted if I was switching to remote instruction or introducing some new tech tools to my staff. So, again, going through the 5 keys to victory that I mentioned in the book. Investing and valuing all your staff. So by this point, I probably would have done an interest survey to see what interests my staff, how I could pull them in. For example, I'm not going to run a sports based themed gamification if no one in my staff really enjoys sports. Um, Things like that. If I have new people on staff, I might throw them a survey as well. Driving my vision. So for here, I would be talking to my administrators and saying, you know, what's your goals? What are your hopes? For this, let's go with the basis that we want to transition teachers smoothly, as smooth as possible, from face-to-face to remote instruction. And in that case, what technology tools would be helpful for doing that and being more effective for our teachers? Recruiting my dream team. Key to victory 3. I'd probably be seeking out someone on my team, on my colleagues that are really good with tech, right? Someone that knows their stuff, so I can make sure that I reach those that are really advanced. I might be getting someone that's in between. They dabble with it, but not so much. Just to feel them out. And then I'm definitely going to get someone on my team that is completely resistant to the idea of technology, right? I definitely want to make sure I get a whole understanding of what I'm dealing with my colleagues and where they're at. Meeting them where they're at is huge. And then for key to victory 4, thinking about my X's and my O's. What can my teachers handle right now? Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, unknowns that teachers are just trying to prep and transition their curriculum. Now they've got to throw in technology, which, yeah, can be scary for many people, but does it have to be? That's my question. And how can we make it seamless throughout this process? So, can they handle it? Sure, but maybe I'll throw in some morale boosters in there. Perhaps, I'll tier it maybe, something low risk to more advanced for the advanced people. And then my O's, which is me. How do I take care of myself? What can I manage? Right now, I'm prepping my own things. So perhaps I'm using Google Sheets or some Google Docs to help me organize, and Google Forms, so that when they submit it, I collect data and it's tracking it for me. So that might be something I consider. And the last thing, that regen effect, key to victory 5. How am I going to reward my staff? So depending on my theme, maybe I'll do a s'more kit. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a raffle. We'll talk about that a little bit following here. But how can I reward my staff? Think about something that would tie back to your theme for your gamification. And then how would I reflect with my staff? So how do I know it's also successful? That's a great, how do I reflect for myself, knowing it's successful, it's working, by seeing them using them in their classroom, their virtual or face-to-face, depending, maybe you're doing a hybrid model. And also, maybe they're going to be inviting me in to check it out, or maybe they're going to seek out hey, I have a question on this that you mentioned in your gamification, right? And lastly, maybe, I'll hold an exit ticket survey or a small, I don't know, luncheon or a fireside chat at, who knows, but somewhere where we can all talk about what people tried and how they grew from it. And then how do I refine it? So based off of their reflections, I will be able to refine and make it better to hopefully try it again next year sometime. So after I lay out those kinds of ideas, I try to think about themes. So we're thinking end of summer here. the beach is always a fun theme. Um, you want to make sure that you're inclusive of everyone. So, could also be like a fireside chat, like I just mentioned, thinking about like who can accumulate the most marshmallows, I don't know, for their s'more, or accumulating all the ingredients. I'm telling you guys, if you read my book, I'm a little outside the box. So anything that could be fun, you can do. So it could be build your own s'more, and then when you're reflecting, at my old school we had a bonfire pit, and so went proper social distancing, but you could try to earn your s'more and try different things, and you get different ingredients, and whatever ingredients you accumulate, then we roast some marshmallows and have a good s'more. Maybe it's really hot where you are and s'mores are not the thing for you. So again, you need to think about what you're doing, your audience, and then you tier it to how it works with your colleagues. And so, for example, right now, one of the tools I'm really loving is Flipgrid, and a lot of people love that, and they've just came out with all these new updates for August. So I might, for example, if I'm working through a gamification phase, and let's just keep going with this s'more theme that is way outside the box, but hey, you can make it work, anything. But let's say, maybe I just want them to create their own classroom, like their own grid. And so in order to get your graham crackers, first more, you need to create your own grid, right? In order to get your marshmallow, you need to have an interactive Flipgrid. So you're posting, your students are posting, they're commenting on each other's. In order to get the chocolate, 'cause that's always the best part, right? In order to get the chocolate, you need to add a co-pilot. And then maybe there's a bonus topping. I'm not sure what else you could put in a s'more. I know there's a bunch of different things out there. But maybe you invite me into as a co-pilot, and I can comment on your posts. Again, I'm brainstorming this. This is completely off the cuff in my head. And so that's how the process for thinking through gamification for me works. And so you would just brainstorm all these ideas, bring them to your dream team and say, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Go to your administrator, say, does this align? Would this be fun? Can you support it? And then go for it. And you'll see that you're going to be building community. And that is super important right now, when also a lot of people are feeling a little bit more in isolation. The one thing I will caution you about is, even though we are social distancing, isolated a little bit in our own, as my like home office kind of thing here, how are you going to still reward them and show up for them in a social distance atmosphere, in a remote environment? So keeping that in mind, maybe you're sending them little letters, like after they get their graham cracker, maybe you're going to shout them out like on a Jamboard, hey, you did great. This person got their graham cracker status. So just keep that in mind. How do you continue to show up for them, appreciate them, and give them kudos from afar? And so I hope you followed what was in my head in my little brainstorm, but I'm always down to brainstorm, think things through with you, and get a little outside the box. Now is the time. So keep going, tiebreakers, and I hope to hear from you soon.